listen, it's bad, but backwards is worse than inside out. Backwards is worse than inside out.
If you're disagreeing with people, that's about karma.
If you're wearing your shirt backwards or inside out, which one's worse? A polo. A collar, button down. A collar.
Backwards.
He doesn't know what the answer to the question really means.
No, it's a real simple question. What's worse, inside out? You actually put it on inside out, or you put it on backwards? Accidentally put it on backwards.
Are we talking about Kevin?
What about all of you?
You don't need to answer that right now. You don't- Not right now.
I know.
Please give Mark a mic before you ask that question.
All right.
They both failed attention to detail.
Here we go. That's right. And we did a little of that last week. But, well, first and foremost, guys, obviously that was a very disappointing loss to a team that took it to us. And the good thing is we had some guys that came out of that tunnel and played their tail off. I mean, there was a mindset, there was a commitment, and it was really good to see. I thought there were some factions of the team that obviously defensively was outstanding. I thought there were some good special team things here and there. Obviously we need to get the kicking situation organized, which has been an ongoing process, and we'll keep working at it. So, and I thought our offensive line for the first time really kind of came together and played with purpose and a sense of urgency, and I thought that was good. So give them credit. They beat us, and last time I checked, we get an opportunity to play them again next year. But with that, I think, guys, looking forward to something that I'm not sure anybody expected, and that's us, the Florida Gators, this football team, playing in the SEC championship and going to Atlanta with the opportunity to win a football game that means so much, in a place the Gators belong, a place they've been. And to get it back this quickly, we've got a long ways to go as an organization and as a program, and yet the momentum this team has built is something everybody should be proud of. And what they've committed to is a higher standard, a higher level, and a commitment not only to each other but to themselves to be the best they can be. And guys, there was a lot of hurt in that locker room, and yet that's something that happens to everybody in life, but you got to pick yourself up. You don't have time to pout. We're getting ready to play a football team that arguably is the best football team in all of college football, and by all means is the best football program over the last probably 8 years of any football team or football organization or program there is, and historically, a program that understands how and believes, and what they're a fun football team to watch. I mean, offensively, obviously, Derrick Henry is a real guy, and the thing that amazes you is how many yards he gets after the first guy actually hits him and bounces off of him. It's pretty impressive, his yards after contact, and I don't know what the percentage is, but I just know this, it's a lot. And but obviously guys up front are doing a heck of a job too for them. They got great balance, and they do a great job in their play actions. They got the quarterback playing really well. Defensively, it speaks for itself. What Coach Saban and Kirby have done there, the talent that they've attracted, and how they have them play is impressive. They're as good as anybody, taking away what you do best, knowing your tendencies and what you're going to do out of it, having an answer and be a step ahead of the game. It's fascinating to see them work, and it shows up on film. The other thing is, they've got, I think, about 8 scores that aren't offensive touchdowns, whether they're interceptions or returns or blocking special teams. I think Bobby does an outstanding job. I know how hard he works at special teams, and they've got good players. The thing they do there is guys earn their way on the field through special teams, and you can tell by how hard they play there, and Bobby Williams does an outstanding job of getting those guys a plan that they execute. So, it's the way it should be. It's Florida and Alabama in Atlanta for the SEC championship. And I am so proud of our players and all the people in our organization, from the administration on down, that have committed to a higher standard and a higher level of expectation. And it's been great. Guys, it's been about a year ago, maybe yesterday, I think I was first contacted about this opportunity, and had to pinch myself. And I just can't tell you how happy I am that the administration chose to go our direction and entrust us to help this program get back to where it belongs. And I'm telling you what, we're going to get there. And we're getting there in a hurry. It's still going to take time, but let's celebrate what these guys have done in the short time that we've been here. And you know what, we're going to go with a mindset that we're going to do our job in this game. And we've got to be, everything we do tendency-wise, we got to do opposite. All right? And because if we don't, they'll be on it. They do I've seen them work, man. These guys are really good at what they do. And I got to say, for myself, it was an honor and a privilege to be there and learn from, one of the best in Coach Saban. So with that, we'll take some, sorry. Gosh darn it. I did. We've got some guys injured. But you know what? They're finding a way to go out there and play. Obviously in discussion with the team doctors and their commitment to play. Looking at this, we got, beat up a little bit more, but at this time of year, guys, everybody's beat up. And, we'll still practice the same. We'll still do what we do. I don't know if there's anybody in particular. Bullard, this guy's doing, man, it's awesome what he's doing, and he's making himself money, believe me, as teams see what he's doing. Because when you play at the next level, you've got to prove that you can play with some nicks and bruises, because no one plays in that league healthy. It's just the way it is. And he's proven some things and continues to do that. Joey Ivey, I thought, is back and played well. That was good to see. Is there anybody in particular you guys are concerned about? Okay. He gave it and tried, but I think, he'll do the same thing. It's going to be hard to keep him out of this game. How effective he'll be, time will tell. Here's the one thing I really like about Antonio is he's really honest with himself, and knows that how he can help the team if he's there, and how he could hinder the team if he's there, if that makes sense. But he'll be there, and it'll be hard for me to believe that he won't do everything he can to play.
What is wrong?
He's hurt. Yeah. He won't go.
Brian?
Taven, that's one I think will probably, he's moved over a category, which is good, which simply means he's going to test it And it's called on this, go as can. Whatever that means. That's the list they give me.
Mark, your question?
You made it pretty clear that Alabama can take away the thing you do best and you want to change your tendencies. Can you do that in a week?
You know, I don't know. I mean, we got to try. And, we've got to be multiple in our shifts and formations and try to keep them off balance. In and out of different personnel groups, so they can't get the match on that. And we just need to continue, I mean, there were some, you guys watched the game, there were some huge opportunities that we weren't able to take advantage of, and yet, you know what, we got to learn from that and keep moving forward. So, we just can't sit there and be, target practice for these creatures, okay? And they got creatures, so.
And any word on DeMarcus Robinson and his availability this week?
I'm going to visit with the seniors, and they'll determine what direction we go.
Hector?
Look at that camera.
Heavy artillery.
Holy mackerel.
Big week.
Is that HD? Is that?
I don't know.
Okay. Gotcha.
You look pretty good, though.
All right. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. That's beautiful.
So,
Where were you yesterday?
I was on the call.
You didn't ask a question.
Well,
I asked Stevie
we were
if you
deferring.
were there.
We were deferring.
Oh, okay, good.
You were good.
All right,
Had
thanks.
some good things to say.
I appreciate it.
Speaking of which, one was you're very reverential in speaking about Coach Saban,
Yeah.
and just has he been the most important influence to you in
Well-
terms of your I know you've had a lot, but in terms ultimately to get you to this point.
I think ultimately, the opportunity, for me to stand in front of your camera right there probably has as much to do with him taking a chance on a no-name guy that, as anybody, and yet along the way a lot of guys took a chance, and I'm grateful for that. What I was able to learn from him in a lot of different things was, invaluable. Whether he believed it or not, I sat there and soaked every second and every word that he had and wrote notes and, tried to learn as much as I could. And I do the same thing here. I look forward to my visits with Jeremy when I get a chance to go in there. I get a chance to visit with guys on our staff. I get a chance to visit with, a lot of people. And it's all an opportunity to learn. And he gave me that opportunity. And guy's really good now. And, sometimes the public perception does not do any justice as to what a good guy he is.
The other question is, obviously Treon just continues to come up in conversation and is taking a lot of flack from the public
Yeah.
and things.
And that's too bad, and part of that, look at maybe a little bit at me, what maybe I'm asking him to do as well, and we're trying to, continue to push the envelope a little bit, and that's how we're going to be offensively as we continue to grow, and we'll probably haven't done as good a job just with his skill set as far as helping some of those things moving forward, and yet he's learning, he's there, he's engaged. He's our quarterback, and I'm glad he's our quarterback.
How do you instill confidence in him and the rest of the team coming off, you've
Yeah.
been doing this a long time, but coming off a humbling loss to a rival?
Yeah, and that's hard, and here's the thing. The longer you dwell on it, you learn from it, you don't dwell on it. And that's part of lessons that we all have as we go through life. And, things don't always go the way you want them to. But how do you learn from those and help it go the way you want it to is the key. Our guys are disappointed. I tell you what now, they they really had a good week of practice, and their energy was outstanding. And you know what? These Gators are something all the Gators out there should be proud of. And let's just kind of reflect on where, maybe some people thought they would be. And you know what? I'm proud of them. And, hug each and every one of them. And I'm glad they're here.
Pat, or what?
When you look at Alabama, is that the kind of roster you're trying to build, and do you have any timetable as to how long that's going to take?
Yesterday, yeah, I wish.
It only took him,
but,
what, 8-9 years? So.
Yeah, you got to remember that didn't happen overnight either. Now,
Right.
and part of the maturation of the organization is you've got to go through some things to learn from and keep, moving forward, along with some of those bumps. I don't know what they were the first year I wasn't there. We had a heck of a run that second year and learned some things at the end of the season that really propelled us, I thought, for those next 3 years I was there, and obviously he's the reason. It had nothing to do with me. He's the reason. But the level of consistency and expectation and knowing the type of guys you want in your program, I think, is as much as not getting caught up in, a 40 time and this guy's a great. But do they fit what your expectations are? And, for as many things, I think one of the greatest things he does is recognizes what fatal flaws are. And rather than say, I can coach that out of him, let's just eliminate that by not taking it. Right. and getting something that fits what you want to do. So, obviously I think there isn't a program in the country that doesn't look, if you look at the consistent success, for that last, 8-year stretch, I mean, is there anybody that can match that? I don't think there is. And so for that, I'm more than grateful to have that opportunity to have been there to kind of see how it was built.
And I'm just curious what your reaction is to being the second biggest underdog in the championship game history.
I feel bad for the guy that was the first.
It was Arkansas.
Was that right?
95, yeah.
Poor buggers.
Florida covered that game.
Jim, were you involved in the early stages of Derrick Henry's recruitment, or had you already gone to Colorado State?
I think I was. I mean, obviously, okay, when you get into that, I mean, today's recruiting world, him as freshmen.
Yeah.
But was I directly? No. I
Okay,
wasn't, so,
I just wasn't sure if you popped on a huddle and saw a 6'3", 240-pound guy running
No,
around.
that would be exciting.
What is it about him that makes him perfect for that offense?
Well, I think they do offensively a great job of matching whatever they do to the personnel they have. And depending on what type of guy you've got there, what they've done is and I'll go back, his yards after somebody tries to jump on his back, pretty incredible. And he's a big guy that runs with a purpose. And he's a little niftier than you think, and you see the runs that he finishes, so obviously his finish speed's there. So, he's fun to watch. I'm not sure I want to watch him from the other sideline, but I do appreciate what he does as a football guy, and just watching what he does on the field and how they're using him. He's a real deal, and hopefully we're not just a speed bump in the road.
Jack?
Jim, you talked about Treon and maybe some things that you've tried to do too much with him. I wanted to ask you about some things that he hasn't done as much. He looked like he did well with the hurry up when you guys chose to go with it against FSU. And I know you said in the preseason that was something that he did well. But, you know, I would imagine you guys haven't been practicing or trying to implement that all year, and you have trouble, you know, moving the change sometimes. Are those some of the reasons why we maybe haven't seen that more with him?
Yeah, I think that, and you know, just kind of how we're built to try to, you know, win a football game too, and
Yeah.
yet, you know what, we'll put a good plan together, and like I said, these guys, what Coach Saban and Kirby do on that side of the ball is, I mean, it is rocket science. Okay, you know, when guys say that this isn't rocket science, it is. I mean, the way they break it down in what they know before you know
Yeah.
is fascinating, and so. And they've changed since I don't know what they call stuff, and you know, all that kind of stuff, and I don't know their signals, and I mean, guys get caught up in that. Look, I just know how good they are, all right, and we've got to put a plan together to hopefully slow that down a little bit, and you know, force some communication things that they'll need to do and that kind of stuff going into it.
And then with Treon running the ball, I would assume you guys have probably been selective about when
Yeah,
you
we
run
are.
him.
You know, we aren't real deep at that position. And not that, you know, Josh couldn't come in and play. If he's given the opportunity, he'll go in and do it. And but
You guys have ran him more.
quarterback run has hurt these guys if you look at it.
Yeah.
If you look at the, you know, couple games they've lost over the last, you know, right? I mean, here's the interesting thing. Okay, hey, how'd they, well, you know, A&M, they had this Manziel guy, and they hit some trick plays, and, they beat them, right? Ole Miss got them, you know what, they had 5 turnovers, and
Yeah.
every possession was inside the 30-yard line, it seemed like, and still had a chance to beat them, right? You know, you look at what, you know, Oklahoma did, you know, they tempoed them, and their quarterback, it was unbelievable that day. I mean, but Ohio State, I guess, you know, when you look at what they did against them, those were all common denominator, you know, running quarterbacks, Wildcat stuff, Auburn, you know, when they, you know, that stuff.
Option stuff.
Yeah. We aren't built that way. So be it. We'll put something together to hopefully at least make them think. I want, my biggest thing is I just hope they kind of come away scratching their head and say, hey, that was cute.
Yeah.
So.
Thomas, they left.
You talked about it a little bit in your intro, that this team has kind of built some momentum for the program going forward. You talked about 2008 at Alabama. You guys learned some things. What has this team learned that can kind of move you guys forward?
Well, I think as we continue to play in these games, you know, that have real relevance, it really helps you prepare as you move forward as a program and as a football team. And it also sets a certain standard of this is how you do it. Anytime you can experience something, it gives you a chance to be better at it the next time it happens. And for us, this has been a season of discovery for a lot of guys and for everybody involved in it, that a certain way of doing things and the why you do it to help you be successful. Now, the key there is you can never sit. You've got to constantly look to not reinvent, but to tweak, to get better, to fit, to be ahead of the curve. And I'm talking about everything in the program now. Because as soon as you kind of start to do this, every other 11 teams or whatever it is in this league, they're investing and going like this. So that's the one thing we've got to keep doing is we've just got to keep doing that. And when we get the experience to be in games from a football perspective that are, you know, have a lot of relevance and a lot of meaning, that really helps you moving forward.
You talked about going against tendency. Is that a game plan during the week thing, or
Well, each week you've got to do.
or is it during the game
Yeah.
actually calling plays?
Yeah, that too. Look, if you're going to run a certain thing, conceptually it might be the same, but it better look different every single time you do it against these guys, because they will be on it like that. And if your back is offset a certain way, this is what you're doing. Back is offset this way and back, this is what you're doing. So don't do it that way, because otherwise they'll have a beat on it.
When you were playing against them in 13, did you have to, during the game, be cognizant, we can't run it out of that formation because that's how we do it? And
Yeah, and we were just excited to be able to see Bear Bryant's museum, at Colorado State. That was pretty cool now. So, but I will tell you one thing: our guys went in there and played hard, and that was a great experience for that program and for us.
Nick and then Mark, Nick up front.
All year, you've kind of mentioned restoring the order, and you touched on it a little bit.
No, I don't know that I've said anything about restoring the order. I don't know what that is. Have I said that?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Restoring the order in the SEC, the program might not be where you want it to
We're
be
not there yet.
ultimately, but
Yeah.
Florida, Alabama, back in the SEC championship, is this kind of what you meant and the expectation, what it should be here?
I think that, I think that's something that we should shoot for every year. And
Fine.
okay, so we've got a long ways to go, like I said, but I think the thing that should be celebrated is how quickly these guys have changed the way they think, and how proud we should be for where we're at. Now let's go take the next step and go play in it and see what it's like. That's pretty exciting. And at the end of the day, the Florida Gators belong, and these Florida Gators belong in this game.
Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, now Derrick Henry, three guys who might be up for a Heisman at the
Pretty
end of the
darn
year.
good players, huh?
All of them are pretty good after contact. How does Henry separate himself? How is he different from those other two?
Probably carries a bigger payload just by size, but yet he still runs behind his pads pretty well. And I don't know if fast-moving semi is a good visual, or there was a movie one time about this train that was like out of control, just going really fast, and they had to stop the train before it blew up the city or something. I don't know, something like that. I don't know what exactly it was, but yeah, but this guy is, he's fun to watch, and they use him, really well. And, it's the same thing for them. Whatever they showed one week, they're not going to do it this week. But they're going to find ways to get him to have a huge effect on the game.
Mark and then Jesse.
I hope you're not the city in that analogy.
Yeah, me too.
You've been overly, praising Alabama here for a few days, and rightfully so. But is there a point where you guys are huge underdogs, and maybe you can use that to your advantage? Nobody in the world thinks you're going to win. Nobody in the world thinks you're even going to score, maybe. Is there a point somewhere?
And I'm
that-
sure they probably think that too. So I do know this, we'll show up. And our guys deserve to be there. And they're really good. I mean, all that you read, all that you watch, it's all real. And they've got really good football players. And I think you just look at their last, whatever recruiting classes. They've got us really good players, and ones that fit the way Coach wants to play, and I think that's the key.
And then one more on DeMarcus. Why are the seniors in charge of that deal, and is that something you've done before? Is that something new?
Why not?
Well, it's not the case for every discipline situation or every, whether the guy gets to come back to the team or play or suspended, not
Look, he
suspended.
made a choice, okay? He made a choice. And you know what? It's, to me, our family needs to make this decision, and those guys are the leaders of our families, so.
Time for a couple more. We have players from Jesse.
Kelvin's had a really nice month.
Yeah, he's really had a good, yeah.
Is he, obviously Bama's got a lot of those glass eaters and fire breathers that you've spoken about before, and their run defense is tops in the country, but is he a guy that could be the focal point of y'all's game plan this
Yeah,
week
no
to
doubt.
really-
No, he has done it. And tell you what, the guy that put it all out there now, and has put it all out there, I'm proud of him. And we need to figure out, you know, some ways to try to get him a couple creases, because he'll will himself into it. You know, and I know he's looking forward to this challenge.
He hasn't done it yet, but is he a guy that you envision could actually carry the ball 30 times in a game like this?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. He's prepared for that, no doubt. And you know, we don't like to do that, you know, but he definitely could. Yeah.
And we'll wrap it up with Edgar.
What was the mood of the team yesterday, last evening?
Not good. You know, they were disappointed. They were hurt. Look, they've invested a lot. And, but, you know, here's the interesting thing. When we all woke up on Sunday, the sun came up. And it's a new day. As I explained to them, what are we going to do with this new day? And this will be a lot of fun.
And the resilience of this team, I mean, the LSU game was a great example. It didn't maybe come through the other night, but that was kind of the first time. What have you been around a team that's shown the kind of resilience that this team's been able to?
No, I haven't. That just week in and week out, you know, what they've done is, man, it's something every Gator out there should be really proud of. And you know what, we'll go to this one and play our tails off. And I know our kids will be excited to get there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Dan,
Good job, Jordan.
no ace?
Excellent job.
Just on the conference.